Well, hello and welcome. Today's practice brings strength and balance together in a dynamic yoga flow with light weights. This practice is both mindful and powerful. This session is designed to challenge your muscles, improve your stability, increase your balance and core strength, and leave you feeling strong and centered. If you enjoy this practice, check out your Wellbeing RX for more yoga, strength training, mobility, and mindfulness sessions. We're starting in a seated position on the mat, so grab a pair of light weights and let the yoga fun begin. All right, it's time to get comfortable in a seated position. It's really helpful to elevate your hips if you have a blanket or a towel or even a block to sit on, especially if you're feeling a little stiffness or tightness in the hips. So let's shift from hip to hip. Find your hip bones, your sitting bones, and then from there just inhale and expand the rib cage, lengthen the spine, rolling the shoulders back and down. Easy breathing. Try inhaling and exhaling through the nose. If that doesn't work, that's okay. You can inhale and exhale through your mouth, but find a nice, even cadence, a rhythm that feels good to you as you breathe. You can soften your focus or close your eyes. But take a moment just to feel your breathing and notice if your breathing feels slow or fast. Think about your breath like a ball, expanding it all sides. So you feel the side ribs expand, your belly expand, the back ribs expand. Your jaw's relaxed, ear over shoulder, shoulder over hips. And now pay attention to how you feel, how your body feels right this moment. Is there any part of your body where you feel like you're holding tension? Or any body part you need to take care of today? Let's take a big breath through the nose. Try exhaling through the nose and draw your abdominals in and up. We're gonna create a belly lock, an Uddiyana type action where you feel nice and braced in your core. That'll protect your back as we move through this next sequence. So go ahead and take your right hand to the mat, and then the left hand can come up and pat yourself on the back. You can roll the left elbow back and down. And then if it feels good, reach up and lengthen from the hip to the armpit to the fingertips. And then let's do the other side. Reach up, pat yourself on the back, and roll. So there's really not much weight on the left hand. We're finding room in the shoulders and we're warming up. Now, let's go side to side. Just flow, inhaling, expanding the side ribs. Exhale to center. Your elbows can be bent, arms can be a little straighter. One more. And you might be moving a little more slowly or fast. Center, bringing the hands to heart center. Just lift fingertips up and open out. Do you feel the shoulder blades on the back ribs? Scoop back up and out. And then bring the hands down to the right hip. We'll just revolve to the right. This warming rotation. Inhale, arms up center. And left hip. Side to side one more time. Notice how strong your lower back feels, how tall you are. And how warm you're starting to feel. As you come back to center, just bring your feet back to the floor and give yourself a little hug. You can round your upper back. You can shift or glide your rib cage side to side. This should feel really good. All right, I'm going to move so that you can see me a little bit better, but we are going to continue our journey. Remember to have your weights close by with a boat. So walking the feet back towards the hips, find a balance point behind your tailbone. Remember, you can always sit on a blanket. Elevating the heels if that feels good, or lifting one or both legs to tabletop without moving the upper body. Chest up. You still have a strong core. Supporting, or if you'd like, release your support. You're still warming, so listen to your body. Let's bring the feet down this time. They're about a foot distance or more away from the body. Opening the knees. Lift and lower. Inhale. Exhale. And hinge forward. So feel the openness in your inner thighs. You might feel length in your lower back. Lifting up to your version of boat today. And then exhaling into this Baddha Konasana pose. Keeping the heart lifted. So we're not surrendering to the pose. We're keeping it active for now. Let's do 2 more breaths and notice the transitions. Do you hear the sound of your breath? Let's do 1 more. Whatever boat pose suits you. And just hang out here for a moment. You can place your hands on your ankles. Your feet might open up a little bit like the pages of a book, or your hands might be on the floor. Walking them out. Nod your head, yes. And then walking the hands back up. We might say no, maybe. And then find this final boat. Just a couple breaths. Whatever expression feels good today. 1 more breath. And extending the right leg. The left foot is near the knee, maybe on the thigh, the inner right thigh. And then we'll just hinge forward and take a moment to enjoy this single leg forward fold. Really draw the toes back towards the shin. And take another breath here. And then we can switch, extending the left leg. And we're going to get ready to lengthen. You can support your weight. Stay active, lift your heart. And again, dorsiflex, draw the foot back so that the toes are aiming towards your shin. Take a big breath. Exhale. And come back up. And now you need your weights. So I'm going to place the weights, one on either side of my mat. And then coming to hands and knees. Take a moment. Adjust. Knees are about hip distance apart, so there's some space between your knees. And you're going to spread your fingers. And almost like a suction cup, kind of think about lifting that center of the palm, gently pushing into the fingertips, and find a foundation there. From neutral spine, draw your belly button in and up, and then we'll tuck the tailbone under for a posterior pelvic tilt, and then a lift. So we're going to segment this cat-cow for a moment into a pelvic tilt first. And then let's follow this posterior tilt, this rounding your back into cat. So from the tailbone to the crown of the head, and then lift the tailbone first, and lift your gaze. 1 more time, just because it feels good. Neutral. And then you can kind of warm up the wrists if it feels good in the wrists and in the hips by drawing a circle with your body. But pay attention throughout this practice. If anything I ask you to do doesn't feel good, then you have permission not to do it. Let's sink back into child's pose. Now remember, if child's pose is a challenge, you could put a blanket or a towel behind your knees if it doesn't feel right, or place a blanket under your knees, extending your arms. Reaching the hands overhead, a little wider than shoulders, pressing into the fingertips. Inhale into a grounded plank. So find strength here in your grounded plank, and then press back. Your weights are close to your hands because you will be having the option to use them a little bit later. Drop your shoulder blades. Get strong in the upper back. You have your core engaged and braced. Now let me give you an option. Lifting the right leg in this grounded plank, using your back body. Let's do the same. All in one sweeping movement, left. Just an option. So feel strong and balanced. Breathing. If you need to give your wrists a break, stay a moment in child's pose. If you want a little more, let's add a push-up. So give me a little push-up. It can be very shallow, it can be a little deeper, and then press back. And now you have an option to combine those two movements. Lifting through the right glute, adding a little push-up, and center. Easy breathing, inhale and exhale. Sometimes I know it's not pretty, but breathe through and really get intentional about the muscles you're feeling. Your alignment, how it feels different side to side in the body. And then come all the way out to plank. You can come on your toes if you'd like, but we're going to come onto the right elbow, right under the shoulder, and then the left. Walk it back up, right and left. Try that again. Elbow, elbow, palm, palm. Let's try the other side. Or you're resting on your belly, taking a moment. Left, nice and strong. All right, let's come onto the left elbow. Grab the weight in the right hand. And we'll do some kickbacks here. Toes or knees, it's up to you. Draw the weight up and kick back. Breathe. Feel the back of your arm work. Take a break when you need it. Easy breathing. One more. Watch your grip. Set that weight down and come all the way to the mat. Take a moment and shift in your hips. You can come down at a goalpost arm and shift. Hands above head or hands next to the shoulders. Give me a mini cobra, pushing the feet gently into the mat, squeezing the glutes, lifting the heart, extending a nice even curve. You're looking at the floor, not straight ahead, and then come down. How do you feel? As you come onto your right elbow and bring the weight into the left hand. We do our kickbacks here as well. So lift to the hip, the waist, and kick back. Feel the strength of your core, your back, your belly, your obliques, all the way down. Set the weights down and come to the mat, pushing back to child's pose. Take your time. How did you do? Now let's shift the hips side to side and then center. Hands come next to the feet and rotate the wrists. Are you ready to stand up? Let's extend the arms overhead, coming to hands and knees, tucking the toes. Just take an inch off the mat. Lift, 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 a little higher, and pressing back, pedaling the heels into downward facing dog. Lifting both heels, and then pressing towards the earth, looking up towards your belly button, shoulders away from the ears. Take a breath, maybe 2. You're strong and resilient. Now look ahead, bend your knees. Let's take a walk to the top of the mat. That's it. Bring the hands to the shins. We're going to bend the knees deeply into a really deeply bent forward fold. And then a half forward fold. So look ahead, keep the knees slightly bent. Lift your tailbone more so you feel the length in the back of your body, that posterior chain. Now forward fold. Push your feet down into the mat, into the floor. Lift up into an upward salute. Hands to heart center. Now connect with your breath. Inhale. Swan diving to forward fold. Soften the knees. Half forward fold. Bend the knees and pick up your weights. Come all the way up. And come to the wide edge of your mat. We are going to find chair pose here. So feet about hip distance apart. Sink into your heels so you can lift your toes. Sink the hips. And then come back up and feel your hamstrings and your glutes as you progress this chair pose, the engagement. Lift. Your heart's lifted. And then we can bring both weights to the right hip. Left hand reaches up and out, initiating this with your core as we sink one or both weights, you choose. Let's do one more. So this is the chop. Other side. Sink. One arm only. It's a little easier. Draw an X. And again, this isn't about the shoulder. You're initiating from your core. Very intentionally. Paying attention. Remember, you can do this whole series without weights. Just with the weight of your body, with the weight of your arm. So coming to the top of your mat, pedal your heels. And then hold one weight in each hand. Let's lift the right heel. You can lift and lower the heel or lift the knee and lower the right knee. Find a focal point. Getting ready for warrior one. Let's glide or slide the right foot back. Feel the back body on the right side. Lift. And then step back, a big step. The back heel moves in at an angle, maybe 30-degree angle. And then find the perfect depth for warrior one. Tucking the hip gently will open up the front of the hip, and you can bring the hands to heart center, almost in a prayer gesture, or come to this goalpost arm, or reach up and overhead. It's really up to you. Inhaling, and then exhale the arms down to the right hip, the back leg. And we'll do a few chops. Up, left, and down, right. Maintain a strong braced core, that Uddiyana action. And then back to warrior one. Find your perfect warrior one here. Hands come down next to the hips. Lift the back heel, which is your right leg, And then find this kind of a split warrior or the beginning of a warrior 3. You can keep the right toe in contact, or you can start to lift and reach through the heel. Relax your arms for the moment. Keep the left knee a little soft, and then let's row. Draw the elbows back, bring the weights to the bottom of the rib cage and your hips. 2 more. Remember, your toe can be on the floor. You're long, you're strong, you're breathing. Let's put that together. Warrior 1. Take a few chops to the right hip, left upper body. 1 more. Well, let's do 3 total. Back to warrior 1. What's the perfect warrior 1 right now? And then let's do warrior 3. Balance. You can add a few rows if you like. Feel your back work. Mid-back, squeezing the shoulder blades. Feeling your glute on the right side and lengthening your entire body. Step center. And pedal your heels. Now I'm going to come to the front or the wide side of my mat, and let's move into a little bit of tree pose here. So we're opening the hips and we're going to find some balance. The weights actually help stabilize. So open out through the right side, and you can do a little kickstand, or you can come a little higher. You can place the weight on your thigh as an option. You find the best tree, you can come up even higher. And I'm going to curl left and press up. Back down, breathe. Feel very grounded and rooted through the left leg, the knee slightly bent. We'll just do a total of 4. Do you feel the back body on the left side? Do you feel the openness of the right hip? Balance is a whole body sport, isn't it? Okay, let's pedal the heels. We can open out left. Now we know what's coming. Is this the side that's a little easier? There's usually a side that's easier and a side that's a little more challenging. Draw the belly button in and up, shoulders back and down. So center of balance, right behind your belly button or close. Find your focal point and then perfect your tree. Remember, trees move in the breeze. It's okay for you to move. You can do just the bicep curl. Be intentional. Really pay attention to how this feels as you shift the weight. You're stabilizing your core. We have 2 more. You can come down to a kickstand so your toe touches down. Stay long through the right hip. It's really easy to sink. Let's do 1 more. Opening that left hip. All right, walk up to the top of your mat, pedal your heels. And now we're going to work on lifting the left heel, finding neutral. And you can lift and lower the heel or lift and lower the knee, sliding or gliding along your mat. Get in touch with the back side of your body. Let's take a big step back. Turning in that left heel a bit so there's an angle. Bending your knee. Now, this pose, and all the poses, may look different side to side, and that's okay. So let's find, maybe it's time for warrior 1 with the hands in front of the heart. Tucking the hip, reach through the pinky toe blade of the foot. I'm going to find a little longer warrior 1. It just feels better. And then engage that root lock, almost like a pelvic floor lift. Bring the weights down to the left hip and give me 3 chops here. Your hips are going to stay stable. You're rotating at the waist. Do you feel your back? Do you feel your abdominals? Come back to warrior one. Your choice of arms. We don't want to overuse the shoulders. And then we'll let these hands come next to the hips, lift the back heel, and find this position of stable balance. And from there, you can find, as you reach through the heel, the perfect warrior 3 for you, which may be different side to side. Let's do a few rows. The weights come up next to the hips and lower. Breathe. The right knee's a little bent. It's okay to wobble. One more. That's it. Back to warrior 1. I made it. And then a few chops. Low left, high right. Breathing through this. It's challenging, but you're paying attention to your body. So it's not too challenging. Warrior 1. Hands come down with your optional balance, optional row. So you can keep the toe down, just hinge at the hip, or you can elevate and find stability, root down, belly button in and up. That's it, step to center. Great job. Come into chair and then hinge forward, and you can put the weights on the floor. Come halfway up, forward fold, and then step back into downward facing dog. Feels like a rest pose right now, doesn't it? Shoulders down away from the ears. Look at your belly button. Gently lift the tailbone, or if you feel discomfort in your lower back, bend your knees. All right, let's slowly come to the mat. Bend the knees more deeply. Hovering if you like. And then knees come down. Come to whatever version of an easy camel that feels good to you. Elbows are seeking each other in the back. You can touch your ankles or heels. Just make sure that you feel like you're lifting your heart rather than dumping tension in your lower back. One more breath. Looking up, but can you still swallow? So I'm about 3/4 up the wall. That's where my gaze is. Squeezing your glutes gently will protect your lower back. And then let's find a moment in child's pose. Check in with your back, your hips. You can take one hand over the other and shift your hips to the side to get a nice stretch in your side body. Let's do the other side. Great job. All right, come back up to a seated position. And let's get back. I'm going to show you just a little bit of an angle. Let's get back into our boat one more time. We're just going to come into, now that we're fully warm, we're going to come into our boat. Any option works. One more breath. And then let's luxuriate into bound angle. Chest up, hinging forward. You can lift and lower the knees, but make sure there's some space between your heel and your body. Breathe. Take a moment here. You can put a block under each thigh if this feels uncomfortable or overwhelming. Relax your jaw. Great job, by the way. And then let's bring the knees up and come onto the back. Walk your hands down. Let's open the stance a little wider than the mat. Hands can come out and just cartwheel the knees to one side and then the other. So releasing any tension through the hips. And this is to your comfort level, always. Coming back to center. Tenting the knees together, hands on the belly. Or you can open out, bring the feet together, and come to that reclined bound angle. What feels best to you? Do you need more external hip rotation, or do you need more internal? So you find what feels great. Take a few breaths here. Relaxing from toes to head. Take as much time as you'd like in this final pose to relax your body and to restore you for the great day ahead. Thank you for joining me for this iron yoga session. Come back to this practice anytime you want to build strength, improve your balance, or add a little extra challenge into your yoga flow. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe and explore your Wellbeing RX for more ways to stay strong, healthy, and connected. Until next time, stay balanced and enjoy your flow.